Hello, welcome along to Early Kickoff. Plenty to get through this morning, as ever, including the latest from Barcelona, who've sacked Ronald Koeman after yet another defeat.
And all good things must come to an end. Manchester City were finally beaten in the EFL Cup for the first time in 5 years. So, who will win it now? Well,
maybe Liverpool, who are still in the hat thanks to a moment of brilliance from Divock Origi. Was this the best scorpion kick of all time? We'll look at a few contenders.
And, of course, it wouldn't be an early kick-off this week without discussing all the goings-on at Manchester United. Has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still got the support of the dressing room?
So to chat about that and plenty more, we're joined by our very own Michael Bridge, and all the way from Los Angeles, Sophie Nicolaou of the Highbury Squad podcast. So good morning, Michael. Good evening to you, Sophie. Let's start with Barcelona then. Ronald Koeman sacked after 14 months in charge. Defeat to Rayo Vallecano last night. Barcelona 9th in the table. Michael Bridge, this has been coming, hasn't it?
I think so, Rob. 9th after 10 games, 6 points behind leaders and rivals Real Madrid. In fact, all of the top four are level on 21 points. The thought of Barcelona drifting away is absolutely unthinkable for them. If there's ever been a season where this club needs Champions League football, especially for the revenue, it's this one. So it's no massive surprise. When you lose to Real Madrid, of course, you're under pressure. But I wasn't surprised when I woke up to the news this morning.
No. Sophie, do you feel a little bit of sympathy for him? I mean, we know there's huge financial problems at the club. He lost the likes of Lionel Messi and hasn't been able to replace them with anybody anywhere near that quality.
It's, he definitely inherited a mess, but he walked into it knowing what the mess was going to be. And clearly from his arrival, losing Luis Suarez in the manner in which they did, and the reports that suggest he wasn't treated too fairly by Koeman, and then the inability for the club to keep a legend like Lionel Messi was a total disaster for them from a PR perspective and also a fiscal perspective too. And, Memphis Depay hasn't filled that void. Aguero hasn't got going yet. So they have all sorts of problems at Barcelona. But I have to say, I don't think many opposing fans will have too much sympathy for them, especially the way and the manner in which they've poached players in the past, including from my club, the Arsenal.
Not many from Tottenham, though, Michael. Sophie said there that he walked into a mess, Ronald Koeman, and he walks out on a mess as well. Therefore, is it a good job for whoever should replace him? It's obviously still a massive club, but there are a lot of problems there, aren't there?
Yeah, as you say, Rob, a lot of problems. Look, the Leo Messi dependency was a real issue for Koeman. 38 goals and 14 assists last season under Ronald Koeman. That says it all. I mean, he just leaves a cloud, doesn't he, a shadow. It's just such a monumental loss. It was unbelievable, isn't it? We were in the studio, weren't we, when we announced that Messi was going to PSG. It just came out of absolutely nowhere. Then we found out that he couldn't even rejoin Barcelona for certain contractual issues. But remember when Neymar left, they brought in Philippe Coutinho, Antoine Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele. It's not worked out for any of them, really. So I feel sorry for a little bit for Ronald Koeman, but as you said, we did know he was walking into it. But I'm looking at managers who comes in at the moment, because it is Barcelona, but it's not the Barcelona we've known from the last 10 to 15 years. Obviously, Xavi has been mentioned. Is that the sensible sign? But whoever takes that job, wow, the very, very, very best of luck.
Sophie, is it still as attractive a job as it once was? And give us some names of people that might be a good fit for the club.
It's insane to think that the Barcelona job wouldn't be attractive to top managers now, isn't it? How the mighty have fallen. I think losing Messi was the final straw that has now seen the club go through an evolutionary period, and it's going to take time for them. But Albert Capellas, who is the youth team, heads up the youth team, he could be someone that can come in from an interim point of view. If they want to wait until the summer, names like Roberto Martinez have always been bandied around. But I agree with Michael. Xavi seems to be the best choice. Is he going to be able to come in and have the same effect Pep did, an ex-player coming in? We saw when United were kind of on their knees, they brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a legend that could, help steer the ship in the right direction with disgruntled fans. Chelsea did the same with Frank Lampard when they had their European ban. So bringing in a legendary player, I think, is going to help appease the fans as well as, maybe help the team move forward in a new direction.
Talking of Pep, Michael, the end of the road for Manchester City after an incredible run in the Carabao Cup. I think 1,827 days. It's felt a bit like the Man City Invitational, that competition, in the last few years. Credit must go. I mean, I know he's got an amazing squad to work with, but credit to him for the seriousness as to which Pep Guardiola has approached this competition over the last few years.
Well, I was calling it the City Bowl Cup. I mean, I just genuinely got to a point, you know, why do you want your team to bother with it? But I think it's a fantastic tournament. But as you say, look, you look at the players who played last night: Walker, Stones, Aki, Zinchenko, Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Mahrez and Sterling. That tells me he wanted to stay in it. Actually, I think West Ham made more changes. I think West Ham made 8 changes from Sunday's win over Tottenham. So, of course, Pep Guardiola massively respects it. Look, you can win this tournament in February. Done and dusted. I mean, Pep Guardiola knows that as well. I know there was a delay last year when they beat Tottenham in last year's final. But, yeah, I mean, we know how serious he takes those cup competitions. But I think this season for Pep Guardiola, the key for him, of course, is in a very, very exciting title race. And there's that Champions League cloud hanging over his head, isn't there, at Manchester City. It doesn't matter how many domestic cups Pep wins, it's about that Champions League.
And Sophie, a word on West Ham. I mean, how impressive you've been with them this season. David Moyes, we were just talking about the calendar year a bit earlier this morning. If there was a manager award given for that, he would win it probably hands down, wouldn't he? 4th in the Premier League and still in the Europa Cup as well.
I've been a bit jealous of West Ham, to be honest with you, over the last year or so.
Who'd have thought an Arsenal fan would be saying that, Sophie?
I know. I mean, football is so funny. It's so cyclical too. But, you know, considering how vilified he was, really, wasn't he, when he took the job again and the ownership was under fire too. It just shows you that if you all stick together and you band together and you make really good decisions and, you know, have a manager that can really command the team, that anything is possible. You know, they've got some really good talent. They're doing well in, I think with them winning a domestic cup this season would be a massive achievement. But they've also been really good in the Premier League too, and they've built consistency, and that, I think, is the big difference for West Ham, because they've been such a yo-yo team. But it's also weird how David Moyes can fail at a club like Manchester United, but then do really well at West Ham. So I live in hope when it comes to Mikel Arteta and Arsenal and what he can do.
Michael, are West Ham the second best team in London right now?
Look, I mean, as I say, 8 changes, Rob, and that included Declan Rice and Mikel Antonio. Areola comes in for Fabianski, who's a top keeper in himself. Diop and Dawson come in at the back. Yarmolenko and Vlasic up front. You know, many fans were annoyed when people said, look, it's not going to be the same for West Ham this season because the fans get on their back. But if anything, they've gone from strength to strength. They're looking stronger. Ben Johnson coming in at right back hasn't conceded a goal in 6 games. That includes Spurs, Man United away, Man City at home. Anyone coming in is fighting for their place. And I've got to say, I've got to hold my hand up. A few years ago, I thought people went a little bit OTT on Declan Rice. No, not anymore. He really has gone up a couple of notches for me. I watched it on Sunday against Tottenham, dominating that midfield. He really is a special player. And David Moyes, fair play to him. It's probably a bad time to be Manchester United manager, straight after Sir Alex Ferguson retired, maybe on a little bit of a hiding to nothing. But the way he's come back, remember, he was there as a temporary, and then they went for Pellegrini. So they do know about David Moyes. He fully deserved this, and he's doing an absolutely phenomenal job. But what I would say is, the Europa League, it's a slog. Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. That's the juggle he's going to have to sort of look at. And he is. In fairness to him, he is. But after Christmas, there could be plenty of games. But do you know what I loved? He said the other day to Vicky Gomersall and us on Sky, he said, look, forget this Thursday, Sunday. I want West Ham in Europe every single season, so get used to it. It's a winner's mentality.
Yeah, it's great. And the whole atmosphere at the club is fantastic. Spent a bit of time there in the last few weeks. Brilliant team spirit, and we know, don't we, West Ham through. And so, Michael, our Tottenham, we will talk about that after the break. They face Manchester United next. Coming up, we'll be looking at how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can turn things around. We'll also have a goals debate, and there are some absolute crackers to choose from.
We're all in to kick it out.
Yeah, welcome back to Early Kickoff. Still lots to get through. And Michael, we're going to start with you. Tottenham through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup after winning at Burnley. Bit of relief in the Bridge household last night, was there? Did that ease the pressure on Nuno a bit?
Well, it's funny because Nuno out was trending overnight in the UK on Twitter. So, I think the London derby defeats have been so damaging, none more so than the North London derby, the Arsenal beating Tottenham 3-1, but it was the way Spurs lost. It was such a poor performance. It's going to take some time. They've only scored 9 goals in 9 games. They've got a -4 goal difference. There's no creativity coming from the midfield. I've said time and time again, the club are really missing a Christian Eriksen in that sort of number 10 role to create. Harry Kane, of course, has only scored 1 goal as well, so there's a bit of an issue there. So it's strange because Spurs are in the top 6. I think take away the top 3, anyone could be finishing that top 4 at the moment this season. But yeah, it's the fans are a bit flat, I've got to be honest with you.
Just to stay with you, Michael, on that point about Christian Eriksen, and I think a lot of Spurs fans would say the same, that they haven't really replaced him. But in terms of creative midfielders, for a cup game, for Dele Alli and Harry Winks both to be left at home, what does that tell you?
It's a concern because there was 9 substitutes last night. Dele Alli has gone from PFA Young Player of the Year, England starter, to not getting in the squad for a Carabao Cup tie, and it's not for the lack of hard work. He spent the majority of the summer training and he had a very, very short holiday. Is this a Dele Alli and a Harry Winks that maybe just need a fresh start? Let's not forget just how incredible Dele Alli was in his first couple of seasons at Tottenham. The goal scoring record was pretty phenomenal.
Long time ago that now, isn't it, though?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But he is still young. Does he need a freshen up? Because it's going to hurt him, and I know it certainly hurts Harry Winks. He's a Tottenham boy. He lives around the corner, so that's going to hurt him as well. But is it a time for both of them, for the sake of their own careers, for a fresh start? But at the end of the day, it's not as if they're being out of the team, out of the squad, because a lot of people are doing a lot better than them. The midfield and the attackers aren't really convincing at the moment. Ndombele, Lo Celso, they're not putting up much trees here themselves. So that's the concern for me.
Sophie, I'm sure it's not a concern to you too much that Harry Kane hasn't found his
all.
form there. We were talking before we came on air. Despite all these changes, Nuno is sort of stuck with Keane for some of those games where he has changed his team, almost trying to give him the opportunity to finding his form again. And it doesn't seem to be working at the moment, does it?
No. When you see what's happened, I think there's definitely a hangover from the lack of transfer to Manchester City. And everyone talks about Harry Kane's professionalism. And, I think there are a lot of Tottenham fans that were disappointed with him in terms of how he handled the summer when he came back from the Euros. You could also argue, and I don't know what Michael thinks about this, but they seem to be playing better without him, and the issues for them started kind of when he came back. If I was Tottenham, of course Harry Kane's an important player. He's been one of the best strikers in Europe for a number of seasons now. But Son is definitely also the future of that club and somebody who I think, rises to the occasion when Kane isn't in the team as well. I mean, I was surprised at how ruthlessly we put Tottenham to bed in 35 minutes in the North London derby, considering we were going into it once again underdogs, because they've been the media darlings. Everyone's raved about them for so long, but they keep coming up short. So couldn't resist.
Absolutely firing shots on her debut, isn't he, all the way from LA?
No, it's all right. No, I mean, look, it was expected. I mean, Arsenal always raise their game at home against Tottenham. It's a big game for them, and we saw them go back to the week after against Brighton. But in all seriousness, Arsenal put 1-1, I think.
Nice. Touche.
In all seriousness, though, because look, I think the worry for Tottenham fans is where's the identity? They're second bottom in shots. Norwich are bottom, but they're below the likes of Watford, Burnley, and Newcastle. That's not Tottenham's way. And, Daniel Levy said in the summer, we will give you a head coach. We were going to give you some flair attacking football. That's not happening at the moment. In fairness to Nuno, he wasn't first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice. So it's tough for him as well. In terms of Arsenal, I've been on the transfer show saying I think Aaron Ramsdale's a good signing. Get him straight in. Ben White, straight in.
Benjamin White. Come on, Michael.
We all learned that last week.
You can see what's happening there with us. You can see a bit of a process, a structure, and I think Spurs fans are questioning if that's happening in the white half of North London at the moment.
So, Sophie, we know Arteta as well is on the beginning of this journey. Who do you think needs this cup win more? Is it your club or Tottenham?
It's a really good question. I also think, just to go back real quick, I think Daniel Levy has diminished the value of Harry Kane now. You know, he's definitely not going to get the money he was looking for from City. And I think in hindsight, you know, did he make a bad decision? Because they could have rebuilt a lot of that team with that money. I think this is far more important for Tottenham. Look, this is a trophy we haven't won since '93. We talk about it with Super Kevin Campbell and the Highbury squad all the time, because it's a trophy that Wenger never won, which is astonishing, really, when you think about how prolific he was in the FA Cup during his time as Arsenal manager. I would love to win the League Cup. I'm still a huge fan of it. I think it has an important place in football. Any trophy is a great trophy, but this is far bigger for Tottenham. They keep being, you know, the dartboard when it comes to not being able to close, losing the Champions League final, sacking Jose Mourinho 5 days before a final last year. I mean, you know, terrible decisions along the way. So for me, the pressure is all on the blue side or the white side of North London.
Michael, you mentioned that Nuno's lost a couple of big derbies this season against Chelsea and against Arsenal. He's under pressure, but positively on his deck chair compared to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when the two managers meet on Saturday evening. I mean, both of those guys go into that game under the pump, don't they?
Yeah, look, this is not my words, but I've heard it being branded as El Sacico, which is a little bit harsh. Look, I think all the focus is really going to be on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and rightly so. It's going to be, well, hopefully it's going to be a great game, obviously live on Sky, but look, it's a phenomenal stadium, it's a quality stadium, but fans want to see a quality Tottenham team. You can't eat a fillet steak with a plastic fork. That's the concern. But going back to
a good one, you probably could.
Manchester City, but look, like we reported, Manchester City didn't put a bid anywhere near Kane's value, so they can't give Manchester City, one of the richest clubs in the world, a discount. It was just a bit of a mess, the whole situation. But look, let's hope, obviously from Tottenham fans' perspective, that Harry Kane does improve. But look, going back to Manchester United, of course, all the focus will be on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United. They're one of, if not the biggest club in the world. But I'm intrigued to see who he plays in that 11. Of course, we know he hasn't got Paul Pogba, but, you know, does Ronaldo start again? Does Bruno Fernandes start? But a really intriguing 11.
Sophie, how do you compare the job that Solskjaer's done to the one that Arteta's currently doing? I mean, he was under a fair bit of pressure early on in the season as well, wasn't he?
Definitely. I think Manchester United and Arsenal's journeys are similar in the sense that both had legendary managers for a number of years, and it's very difficult to replace a legendary manager. Manchester United haven't won the Premier League since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. We've been still a big club, but an average club in the Premier League. What's kept us going is those FA Cup wins. And at least fans have had something to sing and shout about, because the FA Cup, again, just a fantastic trophy to win. I think Arteta now has his own team. If you look at that Brentford game, that really was a makeshift side. And we were playing a euphoric Brentford who came up, 70 years without top flight football. Is always going to be a tricky game. We didn't play well against Norwich, we won. We didn't play well against Burnley, we won. We didn't play well against Brighton, but we managed to scrape, a draw. And the North London derby and the Villa game are the best games that we've played. And the difference between the two is Arteta won his cup final and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't. And that cup final has bought Arteta a lot of love coupons from Arsenal fans. So for some Arsenal fans...
just a final question then, bringing it all together, Michael, on the three clubs, Manchester United, Arsenal and Tottenham. Which of those managers do you think has the best identity so far? Which of those do you think, yeah, I can see what they're trying to do?
I saw it with Ollie I actually think Ollie's done a decent job the last couple of seasons, sort of improved year after year, and the squad's getting stronger. But as soon as you bring in Cristiano Ronaldo, he's paid a lot for Jadon Sancho and Varane. It's a lot of money, so you've got to be in that title race come March and April. I see identity with Mikel Arteta because of the young players coming through, and I kind of begrudgingly say I like what he's doing. They need more, but I like what he's doing. With Tottenham, I just think recruitment is so key, and it's going to take not just January, but next summer and maybe beyond to see more of an identity. There's still a hangover from not signing anyone in a couple of summers ago, and I think it's a real issue for Spurs at the moment.
OK, last night we saw another incredible scorpion kick, this one from Divock Origi in Liverpool's win at Preston. Brought back memories of some great ones. We're thinking Olivier Giroud, Henrik Mkhitaryan. We can show you 3 of them now. This was Origi's from last night. Pretty sensational. And this one.
Go on, GQ.
Pretty good too. We thought you'd like that one, Sophie. Wow. And then Henrik Mkhitaryan's should be coming up as well. The speed of this one was what excited Rob and I when we watched this at about 5 o'clock this morning. So come on then, silly question, Sophie, but we'll let you go first. Olivier Giroud, was that the best for you?
I mean, GQ Giroud was amazing and someone I think was totally underappreciated at the Arsenal. But Mkhitaryan's is pretty special too. I agree with you guys about the speed of which it came at him. Is it fair to call it a draw because they're both incredible goals? And GQ won the Puskás Award too, so maybe he edges it just a little bit.
Bridget?
Well, word on Divock Origi. I mean, Mkhitaryan, but all the goals are fantastic. But Origi, just someone who Jurgen Klopp relies on, doesn't he, in these kind of games, and he never lets him down. So fair play to him for scoring a goal like that. But I'll probably just go Mkhitaryan.
And tell us, Sophie, it's late night there, isn't it? You've had a few belting games in the MLS this evening. That produced a pretty special effort as well, didn't it, from Asprilla?
This is incredible. They call him Mr. October. They usually save Mr. October for baseball and the World Series. But my goodness, he just took the ball and the goalkeeper obviously made a massive mistake. But to have the the know-how to just kind of know where he is and to have that skill and that technical ability is amazing. The Timbers are having a great season. They won MLS Cup in 2015 and they could do it again this season as well. That was pretty special.
Michael, you've got 10 seconds to tell me your favourite goal ever.
Paul Gascoigne, FA Cup semi-final, Wembley, 1991.
Okay.
There you go. Done it with about 5 seconds to spare. Sophie, thank you very much indeed. Sky Sports' very own Mr. October, Michael Bridge, thank you as well. Ronald Koeman has left Barcelona. We'll get reaction from Spain on what next for the La Liga Giants. Plenty more to come in a few minutes' time.